Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. Today I want to answer some more frequently asked questions, get into the comment section, see what you guys are thinking about, talking about, asking about. If you're new to my channel, my name is Dwayne Cunningham. I go by Infidel1258. We cover Splinterlands on this channel every day because it's changed my life and I think it could change yours. But it's not just Splinterlands, it's other blockchain-based video games, so you'll see those from time to time also. And I love to get into the comment section because one, it's what you guys are concerned about. But two, you guys might raise questions or feedback that help me rethink my position. So always leave comments every video. I look at them regularly. When I can, I will make content on your content. And if I'd use your comment, I would love to say thank you. So leave your IGN and I will do my best to send something a little special for you when I do. Okay, let's get into the comment section. I have not checked the comment section before recording, so we'll find out together. But today what I'll do is I'm going to look at 3 different comments from 3 different videos, and we'll get a bit of a sample from recent content. Before I go in there, I know I haven't looked at the comment section yet, but I know for a fact that we've had kind of a couple of videos that were particularly eye-catching, I want to say. And this is one of them. 5 million rebellion packs at $10 a pop was a video that got like a crazy amount of comments. So I know that you guys are spicy about that, but I don't know. I haven't read the comments in particular, so we'll see if there's something great there. Let's cover it. We'll see. Ketovore thinks there's too many Chaos Legion packs released combined with the bear market is what tanked the game a while back. I'm not sure it's tanked. It's still, I would say, still thriving, to be honest. But that won't count as a comment. That's a little freebie. Steve in the comment section, appreciate you, bro. Let's see if we can get a longer comment. I don't know what this is, but it looks like we got a nice get back and forth between him and Ghostly. So let's see. Davon Thompson 7113 commenting on leaderboard DEC inflation. So in this video, I talk about how there is, there's DEC being printed every season and every month for leaderboard winners in Splinterlands. And those payments are pretty nominal, but they're not inconsequential. They do add to the total inflation on DEC. And really, that's the main reason. I think maybe it's the only reason there's DEC inflation still. And so as a result of that, the question is always for me being like, should we stop that? Should we reward those winners with something else? And if so, what? And in this video, we listened to Aggro ask that question and maybe answer it a bit. And he pretty much says he doesn't care about the DEC inflation, and he gives, I think, a reasonable explanation as to why. But let's see what Devon has to say. Devon says, y'all trying too hard to like this game. It's trash. Stop trying to force it because you have so much money in it just to take your losses. That's funny. Okay. Let's see what Ghostly has to say to that. Fact of the matter is that the game itself is not trash. It's actually a pretty fun game. Trust me, I've been an active gamer for more than 25 years. The issue is that not much attention has been paid to the gameplay side for quite a while, and letting bots and battle helpers run rampant made a lot of people who actually enjoyed the game quit. Interesting. Okay, so Devon's comment to me is quite, superficial. There's not much going on there. It's just, salt, probably from a guy who maybe lost some value, paper value in the bull to the bear. I don't really know your story, Devon, so I'm not trying to characterize you or mischaracterize you, but when somebody comes at me with this, it does feel as though there's probably some reason for that friction. You're not just salty for salt's sake. You've got some sort of background that led you to that place. And you're not giving me anything here other than just, I guess maybe you're attempting to insult me. But Ghostly is giving me something to talk about. And there is some back and forth here too, some meat on the bone. So let's get into Ghostly's comment. This is a fun conversation. I like this. I'm glad we got here. Because if you look at it closely, you'll see that Ghostly's not particularly happy either. You can tell because he makes... he gives a justification for why the game, he gives a strong critique saying that battle helpers and bots have run rampant. And he says that there's a serious problem that come out of that. He says it made a lot of people who enjoyed the game quit. But then he is also wrapping that up with some amount of positivity, or at least you know, there's, you know, there's nuance to his posture, his position and posture. Fact of the matter is, the game is not trash. It is actually a pretty fun game, and he has been an active gamer for a long time, and he feels like confident in placing that, in making that assertion, and I do too. I don't know how. Let's start there. Let's start with the constructive. I really don't know how you could look at Splinterlands and say that this game is not entertaining. Like, I don't know if you get this game. If you, and maybe it is just about subjective preference. Certainly that's part of the conversation here. And I'm never going to convince somebody who doesn't like a collectible card game to like a collectible card game. But I would think that, if you understood strategy games, or if you liked collectible card games, or if you liked, oh man, I mean, this is a thriving style of game, whether it's tabletop or whether it's like a video game itself. This is a game that has definitely had a lot of worldly success. I'm not talking Splinterlands specifically. I'm talking about this type of game. And then you get into the idea of like card selection and the critical analysis that's necessary to manipulate the deck, like to construct the best appropriate deck for the league you're fighting in, at the level you're fighting in. There's so much thoughtfulness wrapped up in that. Yes, there's finances wrapped up in that, and you can say you throw money at it and you're going to get the best deck. Yeah, sure. But I'm saying lots of people play this game at bronze, at silver, at gold. A lot of those players actually more recently have been seeing significant rewards, especially in that modern league where it was human only, and battle helpers were recently shut down and are going to be shut down again. So I just don't agree that this game is not fun. And I can't even really wrap my head around why someone would say that. There's such a degree of complexity and therefore thoughtfulness necessary that to me, that feels very satisfying. And I know that the criticism, generally speaking, when I say those words is going to be, and the first commenter even implied it, I've got big bags in this game. Therefore, of course I love it. I'm of course going to defend it. I didn't get big bags in this game because I was rich. That was a product of recognizing the value and the joy of the game. And then the bags came later. The value grew because I saw something, or the price grew because I saw something in its value that others didn't at the time when I was investing. And so it's not really, I don't defend this game because I have significant investment in it. And you can choose to not believe that, but I don't. I choose to speak about this game positively because I truly enjoy this game. I find that it's thoughtful. I find it's, interesting. I love the art style. I love the community. I just love it. So again, there's a subjective element to that, but man, I see complexity. I see nuance, and that thoughtfulness, both in the team construction as well as the team deployment. I've said before that that's kind of like a general manager. You construct a team by hiring certain free agents, firing ones you don't want. In this game, the metaphor would be like, which cards do you buy? Which ones do you sell? Or maybe even you hire some free agents while you can rent them, right? So that's the general manager experience of the Splinterlands game. But then the coach experience is the deployment of the right cards at the right time within the right battles, within certain rule sets. Shout out to Rainy, by the way. Like a battle like this, man, these are like heavy. I'm against a heavy hitter here. Rainy's an OG, huge deck, and we pulled it out. I haven't. We can throw the battle on in the background while I talk more about the question. But yeah, to me, I just totally don't understand why somebody would be critical of this gameplay. And I'm with Ghostly. This is fun, man. This is fun. And then I guess when I want to bring up the second part of his comment, which I think I probably agree with in some significant part, the Ghostly talking about, over the last seasons or period of time, there's been a great degree of like a drop off of the player base. Because why? Because bots have been rampant and battle helpers were or even are still a problem. And I think that's probably right, isn't it? That's probably right. You know, I wish it wasn't. I wish these things, you know, were not an issue any longer. And we've seen that the bots in Modern, I guess, have been eliminated to the degree that's probably possible. There's probably a few stragglers that have snuck by. But man, they aren't there. We have made headway on that front. And then with the battle helpers, you know, Skylar, I think, pulled down his access or the availability of his tool, the Battle Helper tool, within the Modern, and then reinstated it. So then it was being used more recently. Again, I was talking to Stever about this, and he pointed out that, man, it was night and day. Like, it was easy to win, and then the Battle Helpers were reinstated, and it was difficult to win, and you needed the Battle Helpers in order to climb. And you can tell that everyone's using it, because when he uses it, it's like he knows his competitor has the exact Battle Helper list of teams. And so my point in saying all that is just an admission that Ghostly is probably, you know, there is a degree of significant truth to what Ghostly is saying. There was a drop off in player base, and it was in large part, I don't think exclusively, but it was in large part due to the problem around bots and battle helpers. And I feel like we obviously are seeing change and improvement around those things. The Modern League has done its best to eliminate bots altogether. The battle helpers are now being turned and focused on. The terms of service are being changed in the near future, and I don't know particularly how effective ultimately that's going to be, but I think the point has to be made that clearly they're taking it seriously in a way that they never have before. In fact, the team and the development have always said they don't want to get involved with it, they don't want to touch those topics. That's not what their decentralized vision of blockchain-based video game would do. But us as a community, governing them through SPS, we have stated and we have raised the issue to a point where they have responded. And so I don't know if I'm arguing with Ghostly exactly. I feel like I'm largely agreeing. One, with the game being pretty fun, and then two, that the bots were a significant issue. For a long time, my vision of the bots and the battle helpers was true. Well, I didn't know about battle helpers until recently, but bots more broadly just was that, man, I don't know how we ever deal with that. It's been great to see that there has been dealing with that in Modern. I don't know if ultimately that will be successful if we extend it into Wild also. I have my doubts. But if we can, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, if we can ever reach a place where this game is truly person to person, man to man, without helpers, and that would be awesome. And I look forward to a future where this game has grown in its player base. And I think it's justifiable to think we might get there. So much so that we have events that are live in person where battle helpers can be, you know, visually audited. You're not using it, you're using the computer in front of me, like we had at Splinterfest. That was a lot of fun. And there's no way people were using battle helpers then, not in the top, you know, 6 or 10 or whatever, when we're watching the screens together at the same time. So I don't know if I'm arguing with Ghostly at all. I feel like I'm agreeing with him largely. But I guess I'm just adding some of my context and flavor to the topics he's bringing up. I appreciate the response there, Ghostly, especially, you know, trying to engage a conversation with a guy, Davin here, that just is a little bit frustrated. And I get it. Everybody who is here is still frustrated. I mean, we wish we were in a bull market. But I suspect comments like Davin's will be the way of the dodo bird when we see the next bull run. And we'll see a lot more bullish sentiment. Maybe Ghostly's already partially there. Thank you guys. Thank you both. I just gotta shout this out. Davin goes, game trash. As Mongold, we heard you the first time, but you don't play, so what do you know? I love it, guys. You're great. Love this. The comment section is like one of the best places to just get into it, right? Because, you know, frankly, if Davin had something meaningful to say, I'd love to hear it, but he doesn't. He just, you know, it's just salt. So we'll move on. Let's grab a different comment from a second video. So we got the 5 million rebellion. Let's try and find one with a good amount of sort of content. Let's see. So this looks like it could, I haven't read it, but it looks like it could be a decent comment. And we will grab a comment from this video at least. So let's summarize this video quickly. 5 million rebellion packs sold at $10 per is what the topic of the title of the video was. I clipped part of the town hall. Agrod spoke to a topic, to an answer, a question where the commenter was asking, you know, should we release like half as many rebellion packs as we did Chaos Legion? And speculation about how many packs and price were being raised. And so in this video, what I do is I speculate too. I'm like, you know, what are we going to do here? Clearly, we're not going to do 15 million packs. That didn't work out so well with Chaos Legion. But is it 10? Is it 5? Is it less? It's not more. I know that. So I feel like 5 to 10 is like that window. And then, you know, I don't really want $10 a pack, even though the title implies that I do. You know, to some extent, I'm, you know, clickbaiting a little there. I do think it's possible. I really do. I could imagine if they were to, for instance, release 1.5 million packs. You try $10 million there, or sorry, $10 per pack there. I could see that working. I don't think they're going to do that. And I think if you watch the fullness of the video, you'd know that my posture is more like a $5 million pack, sorry, 5 million packs to 10 million packs around that $5 mark with bonuses available. That's generally speaking my true sort of landing spot and expectation. But we talk a lot about different options and what it could look like. And so let's see what Crypto Prepper has to say. He goes, to think I was going to buy Chaos Legion packs for about $2,000 just to find out they doubled the price from $2 to $4. Now I just want the game to die so that other devs can learn from the greed of the Splinterlands team. Whoa, spice. $2 a pack is a great price for many players to want to play the game and grow their assets. That should always be the priority of the developers team. At $2 a pack, Chaos Legion would have sold out. I, for one, had $2,000 set aside. I opted for buying cards off the market, and after Rift Watchers got another price bump, I got out of the game. I rent my cards for pennies, and I hope to recuperate my losses in the next bull market. I don't want to have anything to do with this game other than making my money back from the suckers like me that got lured into Splinterlands. Wow. And in the last bull market. I don't deny the potential of SPS mooning in 1 to 2 years, but it will not be from on a sustainable basis, because regardless of what Agrod says, you need many players for a successful game. Most importantly, you need content customers. I think he must mean constant customers, like people who stick around. With $10 a pack, we won't get nearly as many players as you could, and with every new mistake, the existing player base dwindles. In my opinion, Splinterlands is in a self-induced death spiral, and the only way out is admitting that greed got the best of them, reducing the packs down to $2 so that normal people can enter the game. Wow, this is a whole essay. I'm gonna finish it now that I'm almost at the bottom. We'll do our best to respond. For me, it's too late. I have to quit. I have quit the game emotionally now, and I won't come back. I bet my Splinterlands assets, 50% of those. I bet my Splinterlands assets, 50% of those that quit the game think like me. Good riddance, Splinterlands. Okay. So I think first and foremost, I need to respond to, you know, the fact I feel like there are two main points here that I want to touch on. One, the pack prices, and he says $2. He makes it seem as though $2 pack price would save the game, or that it would have saved the game, and that and any other price is illogical, broken, and he even uses the word greed or greedy. So that caused the failure of the game. So the second point is that the game has died, or it is dying. And the 2 points are connected. The price on packs has killed it. The game is dead. And I think we need to talk to both of those issues. I mean, the first things first is Crypto Prepper wanted to spend $2,000 on the game. I mean, that's not nothing. That's a lot of money, you know, so I want to pay a significant amount of attention to this comment, but I also need to acknowledge that $2,000 is not the audience that a game of this nature is not going to by itself, you know, sway the decisions of this game. Do you see what I mean? I'm not saying it means nothing. I just said it's a significant amount of money, but I'm saying that a game like this needs to recognize, and truly any game where there's NFTs that are being sold needs to recognize that their buyer or their audience has to have an entry point at less than what he's offering, less than $2,000, and they have to be prepared and capable of inviting you in even way deeper. Like, I mean, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I think Splinterlands strives to straddle that line, and I think they do that quite well. Now, have the packs gone up in price repeatedly? Yes. Have the number of packs got increased in printing? Yes. You know, does that mean that in some sense their greed has gone up? You know, I think that's a bridge too far. I think you're getting into a subjective conversation about the character of the development team. And I would argue, you know, there's good justifications for increasing the prices, increasing the packs. And again, like the first salty comment, you know, you might just take everything I say and throw it out the window because Dwayne's just too far in the game. Okay, I can't talk to you, I guess, but I can talk to the person who's actually listening and who wants to hear like sort of a thoughtful articulation of why pack increase prices make sense. I mean, one, you look at a game and you say at the beginning when it was launched and the art style is alpha and beta, man, look at those alpha. Like, I'm not trying to be hurtful towards those artists, but you have to admit that the alpha and beta would have taken far less work than some of the more modern reward cards, the Rift Watcher cards. Like, art style is night and day. And I could show examples, but I don't want to pull away from the screen because I don't want to lose train of thought here. Maybe we'll see some in a minute. So quality of the card creation has gone up. The numbers of cards in each of those sets has gone up. The types of and the overpowered nature of some of those cards has gotten better. The player base has grown. And so a second point on the player base growing, that's necessary for understanding why pack prices would go up is the idea that when a project is brand new, it should have the highest amount of risk it ever will have for the investor, for the buyer of the cards. When Splinterlands launched, they sold alpha packs. They didn't even have a game. That person who bought those packs had far less reassurance than Crypto Prepper or than Dwayne Cunningham ever had when buying cards or assets within this game. I hope we can agree to that. And so then if you imagine, we fast forward 1, 2, 3, 5 years into the future of the progress of the game, of course, now that it's more stable with a bigger player base and there's absolutely a thriving community here, despite what Crypto Prepper is saying and even what Ghostly was, you know, implying, because Ghostly spoke about how like players have left. Yes, players have left, and I'm not denying that. But the question is, have we grown since the last bull? Like, I mean, did we grow in the number of players during the last bull market so that our total existing human player base today is greater than it was in previous bull markets? Not at the peak of the previous bull market. What I'm saying is, in previous bull markets, this game had hundreds of players and now it has thousands of players. That might feel trivial, but I'm telling you, it's at least a 10x. It's at least a 10x, and it might be a 20x. I don't really know how many human players are playing the game. It could, based on the plots of lands that are held across accounts, it seems to me we're talking at least 5,000 to 7,000 players, maybe even 10 human players. And I know a day in the past when there was 300 to 500 daily active accounts playing this game. So that's a massive transformation. And so again, the risk was never greater than when the game started. That's why packs were really cheap back then. There was not even a game to begin with. So of course the packs were inexpensive. Now, as the game has grown in utility, its functionality, and even let's say its sustainability, you have to admit that the packs should go up in price, plus the art style, like I mentioned. So I feel like that's my response to you around the topic of the price change and it going up. But then I also want to speak to this issue about the game, the implication that the game is just clearly dead. And that seems to be what you're saying. You talk about how I just want the game to die. And you talk later about how I think you say it has, or it's, you make it sound inevitable. And you seem to attribute it entirely to the greed. So it's about the pack prices in your mind. Maybe it's about asset prices in general, but you focus on the pack prices. And you talk about it looks like you're saying that they failed to hold the $2 pack shows that the priority of the game development has been money or profitability and not sort of game development. One, the cards themselves are the development of the game, right? There's a new complexity every time there's a new card. Two, the quality of the game gets better with the new releases when those packs are better and more appealing and have new abilities and new synergies, etc. So I just don't, you're kind of, I hope it's clear that your point about the game development maybe not being their focus and that the greed, quote unquote, being their focus As if, first of all, profitability from a company is a bad thing. Is it undesirable for a company to be profitable, to seek profitability? You know, I don't think you really think that. I think there's some emotions in here because you've lost a significant amount of your value. And I want to say we pull back from that and we just get to the bottom of it. And it's like, no, I mean, if your concern is game development and you're saying that they've been too focused on greed. One, they're a company, they should want profit. Two, the profit that they're chasing after has been through providing assets, packs that add complexity and, in my mind, joy and balance and you know, new elements to the game. And as we see land, that gets even more full. So I just don't know that I agree, as I guess where I have to land. And then, you know, when you talk about it's a self-induced death spiral, and that greed is what got the best of them. Man, I mean, what greed, dude? Like, you mean giving away hundreds of millions of SPS to people who played it? Do you mean literally putting millions of dollars into a DAO that we control? Was that greedy? Was discount after discount after discount on packs greedy? Was agreeing because the DAO voted to do so to burn Chaos Legion packs or to set aside Rift Watcher packs? Was that greedy? Those are put into the DAO. So, I mean, you're calm. Not sure. Maybe you don't fully understand some of those things. Like maybe you don't have the full balance or the flavor that maybe I do as a guy who covers this all the time. But when I read this thought, like it seems like a thoughtful, almost essay. And there's just a lot of frustration around the quote unquote greed. First of all, they're a company, they have a right to make money. Second of all, the development that they put into the game was substantive and it added great joy to this experience for those who like it. And that's me. And that player base has grown dramatically, even though, yes, it did shrink from the last bull top to right now. And I guess maybe, I don't know, maybe the good news is, you know, you sit on the sidelines and just gather value as you've said you are doing. And I know you probably want to argue that it's trivial and it doesn't really matter to you, the rental costs you're incurring or you're gaining. But man, if you want, you could sell them now. And if you don't, you can hold them and wait and see if I happen to be right about the future that I'm expecting for Splinterlands within the next bull market. Because I'm expecting people who are in your position are going to come kicking and screaming into new highs. Because there'll be lots of this sort of sentiment. Man, I lost all sorts of value. The game screwed up. The game died. And you know, and I just want to get out. And then you're going to go ahead and watch that ride. And you even seem to admit that. Like you talk about how you're going to ride until the quote unquote suckers like me get lured in. I wouldn't use this language at all. I don't think this is accurate or appropriate. I think NFT blockchain based video games or cryptocurrency generally is literally a thing where if there's limited number, then the value is going to appreciate over time. And so, yeah, there's going to be ups and downs along the way, just like there is with gold, just like there is with silver, just like there is with land. But to me, Splinterlands and cryptocurrency are in the same sort of conversation. And so great topic with lots to talk about, but I clearly just I just disagree. And if you guys think I'm missing something Crypto Prepper's, you know, raising, I'd be happy to hear it in the comments on this video. Thank you, Crypto Prepper. Good luck in the future bull market. Let's get one more comment. Lots of comments on that one. Oh, okay, here's one. That's thanks to more. There's a lot of salt in the comment section today. That's okay. That's okay, guys. This is fun. Let's finish here. Rift Summoner, who's been around for a while, left comments for a long time. He says, I have $7,000 US net worth now. So everything going well for me, especially coming from my $10 spellbook investment. And it started just as a scholar in Splinterlands 2 years ago. So he started off as a scholar using maybe, I think, one of my accounts in Splinterlands 2 years ago with a $10 spellbook investment, probably rentals along the way, a lot of his own time and attention, a navigating of the marketplace, a thoughtful, you know, buying and selling, renting and, you know, entering events and tournaments to maximize and stretch the returns on those. There's tons of ways to do that. Thoughtful people do that. long-term thinkers who recognize the intrinsic value is greater than the dollar price have done this over the years with games like Splinterlands, and I think are doing it even today. And then you see, unfortunately, there's other people in the community, like we just read a couple of them, salty because they have a different outlook. They've quote unquote lost value. The question really is, do you perceive the value in the assets you own? And are you making moves to maximize the returns from those existing profitability? That one person said they're renting their deck. Is that renting producing the profits you desire? Would it be better to just play the account, even if it's not your favorite, even if you're frustrated by what they charge on the packs, so that you can maximize the return for your profit? That's what I'm hearing with a comment from like Rift Summoner, who is really saying, with tons of effort and with 2 years time, I put thousands of dollars together. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that amazing? Like, that should be, to many people, that would be considered life-changing wealth. $7,000. As I pointed out before on the channel, many of the people in the world live off $1 a day. It's something like 5 out of 7 people live off $10 a day. And if you think to yourself, like $7K US, you know, that sort of value in your pocket would be life transforming if you lived off $1 a day. And Rift Summoner put it together with time and attention. He was using a Scholar account, which is literally someone else's assets. I believe it was mine. And he would play one of my accounts, and I would pay him, you know, the portion of the DEC or the SPS or whatever the negotiation was. And now he's put that together with his own ways and his own efforts in a different account, and he's stretched it, and he's probably flipped cards, and like I said, enter tournaments. And you grow it and you nurture it through investment of time and effort. I mean, this is the two choices in front of us, guys. We either come to this place in this moment in the middle of a bear market, which of course sentiment is running bearish and frustrated and disappointment is everywhere. But you either frustratedly wallow in that, or you look up and you say, okay, where could I be in 2 years if I just focus on the next right step? And that's what a guy like Rift Summoner has been doing for 2 years. That's the bear market. Like the entire bear market, he's been just grinding, and he's put together thousands of dollars. And I bet he isn't counting the reward, soulbound reward cards. He has also definitely accumulated. Those have a value. They just don't have a price. One day they'll be transferable. They'll carry a price that day. That $7,000 will be a bigger number when those can be monetized, can be considered in that calculation. And so I love that we could end it here because, man, a lot of people are salty. Bitcoin's at 26,000. It used to be 65. SPS is at 1 point whatever cents. It was, you know, way more than that. 2.5 cents even a few weeks ago. But man, in the next bull market, and if land does what it's supposed to do, there's an opportunity, not a promise, but an opportunity that there could be life-changing wealth that comes out of a video game. And for Rift Summoner, maybe that's already happened. And for me, it's already happened. And for some of you, it's happening right now, and you know it too. And I see Firebolt's got in here too. He goes, that's what I'm talking about. Woo! Great grind and great job, fellow Splinterhead. See you on the land soon. Firebolts gets it. I get it. Rift Summoner gets it. I know most of you guys get it. But there's, you know, a 5 or a 10% salt. You know, there's the salt lords out there. And I just hope that those of you who are here for the long haul are recognizing that you're not the only one who see what this is and what it could be. And that doesn't mean blindly close your eyes and just, you know, expect moon missions. It means thoughtfully and actively, proactively plan so that you can stretch what you're doing and grow and multiply what you've already got. Thank you, Rift Summoner, for the comment. Thank you, Firebolts. And thank you guys for hanging out, for supporting the channel, for the likes, subscriptions. Drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about these different topics. And have an amazing day. God bless.